Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, well, his time machine broke, so we took it to the repairman, who gave it a kick and said, they don't make them like they're gonna. It's Mr. Taylor.
Oh yes, good evening ladies and gents, welcome on them all.
Welcome back to the show.
Yes, my time machine's working now.
What was that, your time machine back on
back on form.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, let's replicate
well, this
joint.
could making me lose my trail of thought. Well, thank you, new listeners. If this is your first time joining us, or you could be a repeat offender. Either way,
love that.
We've got a great show lined up for you this week.
As always.
Thanks to the lads last week who joined us. If you've not yet checked out the documentary, definitely check it out. In Plain Sight, it's available on Amazon Prime and a number of other places. Check out the website. I'm sure you'll be able to find links to it there.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the documentary. Really enjoyed the interview.
Can't wait to do it
If you've not listened to that episode yet, it is available.
It is.
194, I think.
I believe
around
so,
about
yes.
that. 195 this week.
Yes, it is.
So we're creeping up to the 200.
We're nearly getting there.
Ho, ho,
We're nearly
ho.
there. Be Christmas.
Oh, you just reminded me. Yeah, ho, ho, ho.
Oh, ho, ho.
God, what is people putting the Christmas decorations up
Yeah,
already?
No, man.
Are you one of these people?
Leave it till December.
Leave it to a couple of days before, I think. But I mean, it's like literally.
Yeah, but then they turn around and go, oh,
I've seen people putting them up. I feel like people should, there's been
spoiling
people
fun.
kicking off and just going, look, it's actually causing me distress.
Yeah.
The fact that you've got all these flashing lights.
I've got to walk past every day and see
early
that
in the year.
thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think at home? Are you the type of person? I mean, I've got nothing against Christmas cheer. Yeah, right. And I think that the country is lacking a little bit in Christmas cheer. And if that helps people be a bit more, jolly and festive, then I've got nothing against it. Yeah, right. But there is a lot of people who think it's a bit too early. What do you guys think? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, we would.
When's the most ideal time to put up your Christmas decorations? I always thought, and I always went off the 12 days of Christmas.
12 days before, 12 days
after. Yeah, exactly. That works.
Yeah. And originally, the Christmas was actually a full month.
Was it?
Yeah, you actually all went into one building and then just partied and, comfort for the month. And when families get together, have a little punch up.
In other words, what? So you basically all just hibernated in a house.
Basically, yeah. You know what I mean? And it's that, and it's not.
Some people probably still do that, as a family tradition.
I think you should keep if you can, keep them traditions going on. Yeah.
Keep the home fires burning. Yeah. Well. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. That's your tip for this off Taylor. If you're in a family, keep those family fires burning. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Keep going as long as you can, if you can.
Like I say, I don't want to go too far off topic because, like I say, we have got a really good, interesting topic this week.
Oh yeah.
We've not determined it from the name and title of the episode. This week we're going to be talking about time travel. One of my all-time great topics. I love time travel stories.
Love a little bit of
and
time
I love
travel,
people who claim they're able to do it, or people who say they've invented a time machine.
Yeah.
These are guys that I want to know about. I want to know, what did you build?
Yeah,
how did you do it? What does it do? Yeah. Have you time traveled anywhere? What are your findings? And this is a story which we will go into in a lot more depth, but. Yeah. This is a story about which kind of started cropping up in 1996. And I remember listening to the Coast to Coast with Art Bell radio show coming out of Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this guy was a call-in who basically said that he was building a time machine or was, he discovered that he was able to create a time machine of some sorts. He appeared on Coast to Coast to talk about his experiments with time travel, and not long after, apparently he disappeared.
Oh, well, yes. Wow.
We've got a lot. We're going to go through it because it's such a great story. It's what is it, Mike? Mad Mike.
Mad Mike.
So yeah, Mad Mike.
Mad Mike, but Mad Mike.
Mad Mike is a bit of a kind of character. He appeared about twice on Coast to Coast. But Mike Marcum's create. He claimed to have invented a time machine.
Yeah, supposedly. We'll soon find out.
We're going to be going into it and some of the other stories that came out around it.
Yeah.
Whether there any weight to them, any real connections. There is a couple of connections we will go into with other things. Yeah. Because I've got some kind of things about this. Markum's sort of idea of what he'd actually built.
Yeah.
We'll go into it a bit later on. But other than that, we've got a really interesting show coming up. We've got a lot of current events and news,
a lot of
and
news
NASA
going on at the minute.
Going on a bit later on in the show as well.
Yes.
But firstly, if you could travel anywhere in time,
Who, me?
you, and I'm not only just you, because we said last week that we were going to give a T-shirt away. One of the T-shirts that I made. Yeah. We're going to be giving one of them away.
Yes, we are.
Right. So, not only am I asking yourself this week this question.
Yeah.
Where would you like to travel in time, and what would you do, and what would your reasons be for traveling back in time? I'm asking the listeners as well, and the best response will win a T-shirt.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And it's a one of a kind, never a straight answer T-shirt made by yours truly.
Yes, it was.
And I will post it anywhere in the world if you give us a good enough reason for traveling back in time. I don't want to just hear I want to kill Hitler. Yeah, that's boring. I want a good. A period in time.
A bit of weirdness in there.
Yeah, a bit of weirdness.
Bit of
why would you do it? What are the reasons why you do it? It could be personal. It could be you want to meet a famous celebrity or musician or something. Let us know. The best one we'll pick out, and we'll let you know next week.
We will.
But I'm asking you now, what would yours be? Where would you like to travel? If you had the chance to travel through time, where would you end up?
There's a few destinations, but I don't think I'd go further back than World War II. And the reason why is because of
it was a bit grim back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, you didn't have, a bit more of the medical.
Wherever you go, you want to be in kind of like, a functioning society where you've got kind of like amenities and health benefits and healthcare.
Probably somewhere like Roswell.
Yeah. You see, this is a good idea. I mean, about time travel because
and then film the fucker and then send it back.
Prove
HD.
Or exactly, you can kind of put to rest these conspiracy theories that you don't know unless you were there. Well, I was there, so I can tell you firsthand what happened. Yeah, and they still won't believe you because now you're adding time travel into the mix. But we're talking as if time travel was like a natural thing that existed,
which possibly does exist or could exist.
Well, it might. Well,
there is the possibility that.
Well, in terms of time travel, you are always traveling through time from like one, Christmas to Christmas. You travelled a year at 1 second per second. Yeah. The goal is to travel
a little
faster
bit
than that.
Or maybe even go a little bit backwards.
Well, how you go backwards in that scenario, I'm not sure. But
that'd be a lot more difficult.
I think that's a different kettle of fish. But like I say, we're going to be going into it.
Yeah.
I mean, time travel is such an interesting topic.
Where would you go then?
Where would I go?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's plenty of places that I'd like to see.
I was thinking going back to school age.
School age and imparting some wisdom on your young self.
Yeah. He had a lot of numbers for.
Yeah, you see that again. It's way too obvious.
Well,
you know what I mean. And again, I've got theories against it. I'll give you theories about this later. I totally agree with you. Which makes the whole point redundant.
Yeah, it does.
Because if everybody had access to time travel and we all went back and give ourselves a lottery numbers, it'd just
discounted.
it would all just be back to square one. And working out another way we can go and fiddle.
The printers would be the ones who'd be making the money because the amount of print that they would have to pull out now.
I don't know. I'd like to see the 60s, the sort of swinging 60s,
some sex and rock and roll.
Yeah, but more like on what is it, Timothy Leary's psychedelic drug bus or something.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. You want to go for the treatment.
Taking in Woodstock and stuff. seeing a bit of Hendrix. But again, that's still too obvious. I mean, it's like, come on, we want to hear some imagination from you guys.
Yeah, we want you outside the crowd.
I want to hear like what fantastic places you'd like to see. I mean, like that'd be quite entertaining.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily have to be on this planet.
Yeah.
And
Maybe.
thinking
outside of the box. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, let us know. I mean, and again, it's not restricted to the past.
It's not.
I would like to see the future, but again, he's not really. You can't really turn around and say, "I want to see this exactly." Do you know what I mean?
You can see the Martians before the.
You could try and predict events that might happen, and then say, "Well, I would like to see that." So
I mean, the day Mars changed. I'd like to see that the day Mars
changed to what?
Well, changed from a luscious.
I was going to say, weren't they used to be called marathons, but that was Snickers.
Yeah.
Right. The day Mars changed from a Snickers to a marathon, or marathon to a Snickers.
Yeah,
totally different chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, stuff. Moving on. So if you would like to win a T-shirt, we've got some more giveaways coming up in future shows.
And we've got up till Friday, Anthony, to put the.
You've got till Friday.
Yeah, any time up till Friday.
Cheers, Taylor, with the terms and conditions.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I don't want someone listening later on a Wednesday and going, "Oh, I can't." People must have put in already.
Yeah,
you got enough time.
No, just don't be scared.
Yeah.
Put in a finger. Oh, we talking about people getting in touch.
Yeah.
Had an email message on Facebook actually earlier on in the week.
Okay.
Because I was saying about printing, and the actual first bit of information was like, "Oh, you want to try this other technique for printing?" And I was like, "Oh, right, thank you."
Okay.
So then I said, like, we hope you're enjoying the show, typical stuff. And they went, totally enjoy the show, but when I'm imagining you when you're talking, I kind of imagine two other people, like,
all right, kinky.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this person is Mancunian because they had like an internet handle, so I couldn't tell you who this is. But he likened our voices, or he imagined Jason Mansford and Ben Crompton.
Right.
So I don't know if you know who Ben Compton is. He's from, he's an actor, but he's a Mancunian actor. He's like, he's been in Ideal and stuff. He's the guy in Ideal. I'm on probation. I'm on probation. Yeah. So I said, well, who in this scenario? And apparently you're Ben.
All right. Well,
you're a dead ringer. Apparently, if anyone agrees, I kind of can hear it now. Now he said it. Made me laugh actually when he came out with that. Thank you.
Thanks for your observation.
Goes by Saul Good.
I'm gonna have to look him up.
Saul
now.
Goodman.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to look him up.
It goes by. So I said I'd give him a shout out anyway for his observations.
Thank you for your observations. Mate.
So we want to hear it now. Can we hear the line? I'm on probation.
I'm on probation. I'm on probation.
Can I get an 8 for on probation?
No, what quart, man? What quart? I'm on probation.
You're on probation.
I am.
Anyway, moving on. If you'd like to get involved with the show, like I say, if you'd like to win this week's competition, send us an email or hit us up on social media. Send us your what would you do if you went time traveling? Suggestions. I want to hear what you guys had put forward, and we'll read them out next week on next week's show.
We will.
If you want to get involved and help us out, you can do in many ways. You can go over to the website at neverastraightanswer.co.uk, where we've got links to our Patreon site, where you can join up at several different tiers, or agent, special agent, or beyond top secret. We've got merch as well as other bits and pieces going on over there, so it's well worth checking out. That's neverastraightanswer.co.uk.
And we love a coffee.
Oh yeah, anytime you want to buy us a coffee. I love how you just kind of throw that one in, because I always forget.
I like a coffee.
I always forget that we're on that. So Patreon's just the one that you just go to because it's like the most known. But you always go, "Oh yeah, you buy us a coffee," and it throws me because I go, "What?" And then oh shit, coffee, I know what you're talking about now. But anyway, so for coffee.
For coffee. Yeah, I like my coffee, man. You know what I mean?
So I want to tell you a bit about this kind of time travel story.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was listening to Coast to Coast with Art Bell. and he'd usually get people ringing up and just kind of go in it. He'd have his like wild card line, where people would ring up and they just want to talk about anything, and sometimes he'd have kind of like, right, tonight we want to talk about this. If you've got a time travel or a paranormal story, that people would get in touch and specifically talk about subjects. And I can't remember if this is exactly what happened or if it was just one of those wild card phone-ins. Yeah. But when Mike Marcum rang up Coast to Coast, he was basically coming on to tell Art Bell that he has invented a time machine. Yeah. Now, most people would kind of see that as and be very skeptical.
Not job.
It's not only that. I mean, he's come on the radio. Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, Art Bell has had some very kind of compelling guests when it comes to time travel stories. One in particular, which we've covered twice, is the John Titor story, right? Yeah. Really? So this kind of played, I think it might have even been on a similar kind of phone-in to one of the John Titor interviews, and that's how I ended up coming across the story. What interested me was that this guy was saying that he'd created some sort of vortex machine that was able to create a vortex, and he was able to send things through time, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, he was a young lad, Mark. He's 21 years old at the time. He's studying to be an electrician, and he began messing around with the idea of creating a time machine, right? He enjoyed playing around on his front porch, and he found his new electrical skills, with his new skills that he kind of getting his head round. He just tinkering with
learning
appliances, CD players, amplifiers, just whatever he could get his hands on, just to kind of, tinker and practice his kind of electronic skills. He created, firstly, what's known as a Jacob's ladder, right? Now, what that is, it's a device that causes an arc of electricity to travel in a circular way, basically, right? So if you think about two antennas pointing out into a sort of a V shape, an arc of plasma would travel from the bottom of the two rods, building up, climbing the ladder to the top, and then recycle and come back up, right?
That's right.
So we built this kind of device, pretty small scale. He's using a CD laser to sort of cushion the air, create less friction between the poles of the electric field, right?
Yeah.
And he claims that he starts to see this sort of like vortex, a little sort of portal, a circular shaped anomaly within the arc, right?
Right, okay.
So
I can see at a certain
he's
point
getting, a bit kind of curious about this, and he's like, what he claims is that he threw a screw, like just a normal screw, through the hole, and it vanished, right?
Perfect
Only for
shot.
a split second, but long enough for it to be noticeably disappeared, right? When it started to reappear, he claimed that there was sort of like, do you know when you see on a hot day, you get that mirage sort of heat that kind of waves in the distance. You can kind of see like the heat rising off the floor and the concrete and the asphalt, and it is like a mirage. That's how he described it.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it started to shimmy back into reality, it almost kind of looked like it was a mirage. It was giving off heat or like that type of effect, right?
Yeah.
So off that, what would you think? You know what I mean? You threw this screw into a thing that, I mean, a Jacob's ladder is not a new thing. I mean, Tesla was working with this type of technology for quite a long time.
I
mean, I can't imagine that this would yield that much of a new result in terms of like, we're finding.
I don't know, I suppose nowadays, I mean, I could sort of see that if you got two pieces of energy jumping from one pole to another. At a certain point, there's going to be kind of, in between of breaking and like where there's an ending where it can't join to the other side. And
this is a circular thing. Yeah. This is.
You'd have to introduce different things. I'd say you'd have to introduce more than what he's saying he's introducing.
Well, this is quite a small scale experiment, right? It got to the point where, like, he's gone on Art Bell and he's telling him about this, and he's like, what's the plan for the future of it? Yeah. And he's saying, I need to up the energy, I need to up the wattage,
more
and all
power,
the rest
more
of it.
Responsibility.
More money, more problems. More energy, more problems.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is he needs to get more power. Now he's running this from like the mains electricity, right? Yeah. So on a small scale, what actually happened was
he had a big electric bill.
Well, while he was running the initial experiment, the laser blew up. Yeah. Oh. So apparently, because everyone was like, "Well, why did you get this on video?" Because we wanted to see the screw disappear. Did you get any video evidence? Did you document it? And he said, Mark, that when when he went to get his video camera, that's when the laser exploded, right? So he's like, oh, for fuck's sake. He's witnessed this screw disappearance about 3 times at this point. He's like...
3 times? Yeah. And he must have only just worked it out on the first one, then thought, right, I'll do it again.
You repeat the experiment, don't you?
And then the third one, or at least the second to the third one, I'd start filming it.
Well, this is it. This is 1992 or something stupid. It's like, 1996.
Yeah, 96.
It's... the video technology in terms of like, no, it's not on your mobile phone. It's a total different piece of kit where it's like, right, have I got a tape ready? Have I got like, is camcorder charged up? Yeah. There's so many aspects.
All prepared and ready.
Yeah, but he didn't know that this was going to happen. He's tinkering with a bit of kit. He's created this Jacob's ladder, but to know that it was going to do something remarkable was, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sticking
but that's with
sticking up for the guy. One. I admit that,
he should
preferably,
have done all this.
I'd like to have have kind of videoed it. Yeah. But if he didn't video it, I can understand why. Oh. I keep a mobile phone in my pocket, and half the time I see things and go, oh, I should have videoed that, and don't, right? So I can appreciate that with limited... camcorder, it's not there in his pocket, even on his phone. He's got to go and make sure he's charged up or got a battery in a video cassette and all that rest of that stuff. So I can kind of forgive him for not videoing it straight away, right? The fact that he was on the third go and then he's thought, right, I'm going to go and get a video camera, that kind of does go, goes against him a bit. But the idea that...
Yeah, because if you think about it, after the first one, right, it might be a mistake, it might have been something I've totally miscalculated. Right, the second time I'm going to do it. You'd film it because, especially if in a kind of, if you're in a scientific mind, you'd film it because there's the extra study for
I agree.
Number one.
I agree, but like I say...
The third one would be...
I don't think he felt like he was doing anything that spectacular to begin with.
He must have thought that, wow.
Only when the screw... when the screw went missing, but I feel like that wasn't, it's in terms of... You think 3 times might be a big number in terms of how many times he's done that. Yeah. But the first time, like you say, you throw a screw through and you kind of like, hang on, did I just really see that? Yeah. So the second time, it's repeat the experiment. You'll see it again and go, oh, kind of, but then I maybe do it 5 or 6 times before I went and got the camcorder just to make sure that I wasn't actually seeing things.
Yeah, no, in the back of my mind, it'd be a case of how long can I keep doing this as well.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
The case of as well, if I'm going to study it, I'm going to study it right and like catch it from the second time. And the only way I can really do that is by filming and like documenting every single one that happens from there on.
Well, it actually created. He was working on his porch, like I say. He's kind of not in a lab or anything like that. This kind of
So
seems
he was
like it's
outside?
very homemade. Yeah.
If he was outside, then you've got other elements around, like
Well, this is what I'm
wind
saying.
and
Yeah,
dust
there's
and-
loads. It's not a professional sort of scientific setup or laboratory that, like, you know, he's got there. It's an amateur electrician. Yeah. Having a play about on his porch. Yeah. Doing some Tesla-esque sort of experiments.
Yeah.
And he's gleaned something from one of his experiments that potentially nobody else has. Yeah, right. In the history of them being Jacob's ladders, what he did notice is that there was like you know, something strange about the device, and it created heat marks on the porch in a circular shape. Yeah. So do you know, like when you know, Terminator first appears and he's in that like sort of orb, and it sort of cuts into the surroundings because it's just like an energy ball that's just been transmitted, like from God knows where.
That's interesting, though.
So he's kind of reported a similar thing happening on his porch. Maybe not to that extent, but I mean, this is quite a weak machine. I'll be honest with you, the machine that he built initially, right, would still have killed him. Yeah, if he would have got, if he touched the wrong bit of it, there was that much wattage going through, it would have fucking really stung. Yeah, right. So the idea to actually up the voltage, it's quite risky.
Yeah, but he's done it before, and it's more safety. And
he's not done it to this extent, because what he planned to do from then was up his game, basically, right? So he's recruited a couple of mates because he needed some transformers, right?
Okay.
Because he's running off the house mains supply, right?
That's going to be a big bill.
What you need to do is transform that current into a more sort of manageable current sort of thing. So by you basically be able to put more wattage out from a trickle of electricity, boosts it basically. Right. So we decided, you know, after throwing these screws in, that, and you know, his laser had broke. That if he was going to rebuild it, he was going to go big. Yeah, right. So like I say, he's recruited his mates. He's basically decided that he's going to go and try and find some new transformers. Right. So he found some giant transformers, but the problem was they belonged to. Well, he couldn't lift them, but they belonged to a neighbouring town. Right,
a town.
Yeah,
a town's transformers.
But he couldn't take his town's transformers, obviously, because he needed his electric on. So he's nipped to the next town over and took a few friends, paying them, to help him out, and get, you know, these transformers. Yeah, the transformers actually caused a blackout in his neighbourhood. Yeah.
Oh
right.
Shit.
Which allowed the police to track him down. Right, and he was arrested.
Yeah.
For several crimes there, basically. One, stealing transformers. Yeah.
Breaking the grid.
He said he was about 7 of them there, and he took all of them.
He took all of them?
Yeah, and these were big fuck-off things, This was like, you know, the transformers were from a power generating site, like, from King City in fucking God knows where. But so he wasn't asked about like knocking the neighbour town's power out.
Just
but
not.
Then he ended up causing a blackout in his own town.
2 times done.
So you know he was causing problems, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down with all the time travel.
Yeah.
But you know, Mad Mike, he was
mad.
He was asked actually what his friends think about him and what he was doing, because, like, you know, what would you think if I turned around and said I'm building a time machine?
All right, show me.
But that's what I'm saying. Would you believe me, or would you think like I've lost me fucking marbles?
Why wouldn't I? To be honest, because if someone comes up and tells me something,
I love the
you
faith.
Must have some kind of proof.
Do you faith in me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well. Obviously, Mike had a lot of friends who just thought he was crazy. Probably thought he was like, you know, just full of shit. Yeah. But after he was released from prison in 1996, Mike Marcum was invited to go back on the Art Bell radio show to discuss his experiments. and tell his story about time travel and what he'd learned so far.
Yeah. Did more in jail.
What?
He did more in jail.
It's like, no, because he really changed his, the idea of how he was going to operate his machine. Because in the first instance, he was
time to think as well.
He was using lasers, whereas now using these transformers as well as electromagnets, he decided like that was a better way of going.
Yeah,
right?
I totally agree.
Now, there's some interesting stuff going on with this because now, once he came out of prison and he went back on the Art Bell show, he was talking about, how how he got started and how basically the story we've told you so far.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of people interested. There was people who were coming forward who wanted to kind of help and support him. He'd been arrested for doing this stuff in his house or his garage, but
he didn't have the money to be able to do
exactly. He didn't have the money and he didn't have the resources. Whereas people started coming forward and going, "Well, we've got like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, a space.
If you want it.
Here's 20 grand to get you started." And as far as he was saying, his machine was becoming something a lot bigger than it first appeared to be, first started out as. But I've got a couple of issues with how this machine firstly operates, right? Yeah. I mean, he's under the impression that it's some sort of time portal or vortex, right?
With no kind of evidence apart from a screw going in.
Yeah, apart from a screw going in. Now, there is some more instances that they say that there was wildlife that he put through the machine.
Yeah.
But we'll go into that
in a bit, yeah.
I feel like with this, he's clutching at straws. I feel like there's a number of things it could be. It could be some sort of like, how TV signals are sent. Willy Wonka says it best. Like it breaks you up into a million pieces and then it recombobulates and brings it all back together. I mean, who knows that he didn't just sort of like, like the Philadelphia experiments, they were looking to use that sort of, high-powered magnetism to create invisibility.
Yeah, and he did say that he was one of the influences.
How does he know that he's creating time travel when he could be creating teleportation, he could be creating invisibility? I mean, unless a physical being or yourself or me or you or him go through that machine and witness it for themselves, there's no way to be sure whether he's travelling through time or not. Do you know what I mean?
It did say though, didn't it, that if it did come to the part of using humans, he would be the first one to try it out before anyone else. Which a lot of
totally, I feel like most scientists do that sort of stuff. I think Art Bell actually had a guy. He was a vicar or some sort of pastor, and he called in and said, like, I've had an interest in this stuff for ages. If you're looking for a volunteer, I'd dive in. But then I was saying, like, what are his motives? I mean, he says he's a pastor and all the rest of it, but
Italian pastor.
It's creepy pastor. So the idea of time travel as an ethical tool, it's a dodgy one. I mean, we all know what happened with Biff in Back to the Future. Getting the almanac and using it for personal gain. And I feel like if this sort of technology ever existed, it would need to be regulated in a sense that, don't let it fall into the wrong hands, because it takes is one thing to change in their favour, and that's rich, powerful, untouchable. Do you know what I mean?
With the pastor, I can't. I'm not too religious, so I don't know about this part. Wouldn't like the Pope likes to get his nose into bits.
Hey, I'm the Pope. I put my nose into bits.
Keep the the spiritual up. Now, couldn't he have told the pastor to actually phone up and try and find the evidence itself? So if he does spot that Mad Mike's actually done it, he can go back and then question the next day. Mad Mike's disappeared, the machine's disappeared, nothing happened here, mate.
I would have loved for him to have been legit and loved for his, machine to have worked.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, he went on, like I say, he went on coast to coast. And, he was asking for new ideas, financial help, which I feel like he got to an extent.
A lot of people do.
There's a lot, I've got an interest. There's a lot of people who've got interested in time travel and this sort of thing. I feel like if I had the financial means to be able to go, yeah, do you know what? I'll back a bit of that.
Yeah. Then, and there are people out there who will back stuff
look
like
at Elon Musk. I mean, he's the type of guy who, as a child probably thought, Richard Branson the same, I'm going to go to space one day, and made it a reality. And it's like, if you've got the money behind you to throw it at this sort of stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if an advancement in time travel does come through, it would be through SpaceX or Elon Musk's company, because that's the type of stuff that they're putting, looking at. I mean, something that actually came up. What's happening to the Stars Academy? I feel like Tom DeLonge's gone back to,
Well, he had a lot of.
He was planning on building a fucking time traveling spaceship.
It was quite a few legal cases against him, as I believe.
He's gone back to Blink 182. They've reformed and they're going touring.
He needs the money because about 35 million
the Stars
or something.
Fucked.
Yeah, it's proper.
Yeah, I feel like correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like the last tweet they posted was like May last year or something. So I mean, they're not very active. I did say this. He's a fucking con man.
Yeah.
Anyway, or the corporation. I don't know.
They were invested by CIA or something. You know what I mean? A bit of an off.
Well, anyway, so so he got a bit of kind of help.
Yeah.
From going forward.
Financial back.
But Markum actually got in more trouble with the police after he was evicted from his apartment for allegedly using his machine. Yeah, to transport a cat over a block away.
Oh, did he do
it? He claims this was untrue.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean,
would
you be tempted? Yeah, if you're kind of like, you're sick of throwing screws through your vortex, it's like, I want to see if something, survives.
You know what?
How does he know it was the same cat?
Well, true.
A block away. Do you know what I mean? I could walk a block away and see a cat that looks identical to my cat.
And now he must have got a bit further along as well to control where that cat was going to land.
Yeah, because this is what I'm saying. It's right.
I would use an ant.
This machine is very chaotic. It's so unpredictable.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's a time machine,
no
or if it's an
over
invisibility machine or anything else. Yeah, you've got no control of where you're going to end up if you do time travel. Yeah. You've got no sort of proof that you're not just going to get vaporized as soon as you step inside the machine. And I think Art Bell actually said, when you come to test this machine, I want to come down and film it because it's going to serve one of two purposes. We're going to see a guy time travel legitimately, or I'm going to see a guy frazzle up to pieces, and that'll be your last act on this earth.
Yeah, which people would watch as well.
I feel like when he said that, though, it was kind of like...
Yeah, it's a bit dark.
It was quite dark, and like...
But it's only the truth, isn't it?
Like, I want to come and see you kill yourself.
He's trying to throw the reality to him, I suppose, that, like, look, this could kill you, Do you know what you're actually doing, you know what I mean? And before you actually do it, make sure you've got to crack them numbers.
Well, Art Bell was, like I say, he was interested in the testing side, and he said, like, we wanted him to appear on the show again later on that year. On his second appearance on the show, Markum claimed that his new time travel machine was similar to the old one and similar to the one that was used by the US military in the Philadelphia experiment. So this is where it starts getting interesting now, because this machine's now gone from sitting on his back porch to being in a warehouse sort of facility where he's created electromagnets which are 10 feet wide, right? And he's not just one of these discs with 20-odd magnets creating a 10-foot wide disc of energy or spinning electromagnet.
Yeah.
He's got like 7 or 8 of these things. Yeah, right?
They only had 4 on the Philadelphia experiment.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, in terms of output, this would vaporize you. This would, like, kill you if you were to kind of, get on the wrong side of this energy. he's now claiming that like it's very close. It's very similar to the one that they used on the Philadelphia experiment, but he had a caller on Art Bell who likened it to what Bob Lazar saw when he was reverse engineering UFOs, right?
Yeah, in Area 51.
So he was saying like, well, what's your configuration on your electromagnets? Is it like, is it 48 magnets? And he was like, well, no, I used 22, but I knew it was a division of 12 or whatever. It needed to be a multiple of 12, right?
Yeah,
so he was actually going to go
was...
to 96, yeah, right? And he went, nah, and backed it down, right? But it seems like that could be the 48 could be the ideal number, you know what I mean? But again, not exactly what he's setting out to create. He's thinking, I'm creating a time machine. But this technology is now lending itself more to propulsion and space travel, and, in terms of jet power or how these UFOs actually,
work.
Work, have power.
But
so
I kind of think that he's kind of gone in the wrong way, because he's got a lot more power than what was used in the Philadelphia experiment,
which was supposed to have been able to fucking transport a boat.
Yeah, and it did something there. And then you've got all this other kind of stuff, and it doesn't seem to be weighed, right? Like how many for the 48. It just doesn't seem to. He's gone instead of using 48, he's gone to what was it, 24?
Yeah.
So that he's on one side he's half cut of what he was using.
I think like that's it.
Putting extra energy in.
He's got about 8 of these disc setups, right? Yeah, and he's using this to stabilize the poles of this arc, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming that the ladder must be ridiculously big. I don't understand like how but he's saying it's basically big enough for a man to walk into at this point,
right?
And he would be ready to try it out on himself in a couple of weeks' time, which, like I say, Art wanted to go down. He said, let me know. Yeah. I will fly to wherever you are and I will film this. Yeah, because like obviously at this point there's still no video evidence to suggest that
just him saying it.
This was actually true.
Yeah.
An article in Nexus Online magazine came out which claimed that after appearing on Coast to Coast the second time, that Markum was gifted $20,000, a warehouse in Kansas City, and over $1 million worth of equipment. So this was, like I say, whether this was the lead up to him getting this big facility where he was able to do his experiments to full scale.
I've got a kind of issue with like giving money to him, and personally myself, I would suggest there's no evidence to say it was, but myself, I would say that somewhere along the line it was a government check that got passed down the line.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, he built his machine several feet in the air, instead of being on ground level.
Yeah.
So it almost reminds you of the Stargate.
So it gets rid of the Earth as well. The Earth.
Well, basically, think about it, what we were saying earlier about like that Terminator vibe, where when he arrives, it's almost like takes a crater out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by suspending it in the air, it maybe you're kind of cutting out some sort of resistance or friction when it actually, I mean, think about any sort of heat source. If it's burning through something, then it's taking that energy away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by suspending it in the air, it creates, less friction, less drag when it kind of reappears, or when it, when this orb of vortex, I don't know.
But then you got to think of which they probably didn't even know back then, about the magnetic fields around, the single separate ones and around, different.
So based on what you've heard so far, would you describe this machine as a time machine?
No, I'd say he's possibly getting close to something, but
this with carrying on his experiments in Kansas City warehouse, he began to throw guinea pigs into the
so he's
into
doing-
the vortex
Awesome.
as it formed.
Yeah.
And Markum claimed that the guinea pigs would disappear inside the vortex and then reappear in the warehouse parking lot every time, either to the east of the building or the west side of the building, but never to the north or south.
Which is interesting, yeah.
Well, why would you say that was interesting? It is interesting that it was a repeatable,
because it's deliberately stopping north and south, so there must be another kind of force there that's actually saying that the transportation of what you're putting in there has got to go on the east and west. It can't go any other way.
go
yeah,
up and down.
So
It's gotta
that
go
could
left to
actually
right.
help. Actually thinking about it, that could actually help with like GPSing of where you could go.
Well, this is what I'm getting
and
at,
how to
right?
get
Because
back.
the idea of building a time machine right now, he could be right. I've built a time machine,
Yeah.
but unless you can navigate time
Yeah.
and space, then
Which is going to be a lot more
it's
harder.
so again chaotic and
Yeah.
unpredictable. It's like you step into a time machine with no. It's like Avengers did it recently. If you want to kind of like a good example of that, it's like Bruce Banner helps create time travel, but ultimately there's no way of controlling time travel
Yeah.
through the quantum realm until Tony Stark comes up with an almost like a GPS device, which
Yeah, that's
you know,
right. Yeah,
in
yeah.
the same like the time circuits in the DeLorean,
Yeah.
where you punch in where you are,
And he's a
where
freaking
you're going,
genius.
where you've been.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And as long as you've got those variables in your machine,
Yeah.
then you've got control of where you're going to go, when time you're going to get there, what date you're going to get there.
No,
yeah?
you're going to have to do testing
That's
every
what I'm saying.
step of the way.
This machine that this guy's built, it's not like going to be able to be usable in the sense that am I going to be able to
10,
step
20,
into
30 years.
into this machine and be able to tell it where I want to go rather than just being spat out at a random point in history.
Until they come up with a massive breakthrough, which it would be a massive breakthrough of GPSing. Where
Time
you're going.
travel, GPS,
Yeah, it's going to
patent
be.
pending.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of them things that, like I said, it's not going to be like the corona fucking jab. You know, just take it out the factory and give it you. It's got to go through so
Well, again,
many tests.
it's not even a case of that like it'll be ever released to the public
No.
anyway, because
and it shouldn't.
like I said earlier, in terms of like
We should know about it, though.
wanting to be, yeah, we should
should
totally know
know
about
about
it,
it, but
and
we
I
have
want to
no-
watch a documentary about it,
Yeah.
yeah, right. But the idea that somebody could go back in time and change their future for the better.
Yeah, which would be everyone
it's
for money.
like everybody would
Yeah.
want to do it. Everybody would want to win the lottery.
Yeah.
Everybody, and it'd devalue it all. Yeah, to the point where it was meaninless because
everyone's a millionaire.
or you get these, and again, it's such an ethical kind of conundrum, because if you have the means to travel back in time and change your fortune so you're rich and powerful,
Yeah, I'm doing it.
well, straight away, mate,
Yeah.
I'm buying that company that invented the time machine. That's mine now. That is now my time machine, yeah. And do you think I'm going to let anybody else
No.
jeopardize my financial profits?
So they have
Because
enough money to buy everyone else.
exactly, well, no one's getting their hands on my time machine. Yeah, right. It's a personal thing, and I think
And if
if
you
it
find
does
out,
exist,
I'll send you hit
there's
squad.
literally one person who owns one. Yeah, right. And I don't. And I reckon there was teams of people worked on it, but
But there's a lot of ethical stuff around it that, like, we can't do something like, you know, Congress or, you know, House of Lords or anything
we use
like
it
that.
to change like the political landscape, but that's exactly what it'll be used for. It'll be used for
Not only that, the secrets will get let out.
personal gain, for power and money.
Yeah, which they will do.
I like the idea of time travel in the sense that, you
Free.
know, what,
Free on the time travel. That
What?
everyone's free with the time travel.
what like
Is
you?
that what you're on?
Well, no, but how do you mean free with it?
As in free, as in people.
What if I
would
wanted
travel,
to? If
you
it
know,
could
to
build a
different-
time machine and it could, then
Yeah,
it'd
but
be
you
free
don't
to use
actually
it.
destroy the past, or, you know.
Well, this is the
disturb
problem,
it.
because obviously you get the butterfly
is
effect
hard.
type stuff.
Yeah.
This is one thing about, like, you know, we was talking about Quantum Leap,
Yeah.
right? Now, in the original Quantum Leap, Sam Beckett, he leaps into the body of somebody who needs helping, right? And he needs to put that right. That could be saving their life, right? So he saves their life, And as a result, he goes on to have 5 daughters. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And them daughters end up becoming, I don't know, fighter pilots or, you know, like test pilots or the presidents or president's wives or the first, or their granddaughters end up becoming the first person on Jupiter or something.
Yeah.
It's like that's creating a new timeline where these people didn't exist. Do you know what I mean? In the original, yeah. And it's a ripple. Because like by saving that one person, well, no, it's not even a case of fucking up. They might have benefited us by bringing these people.
Really.
But again, it could be the reverse, where it's like by saving that one person, it's actually he has a kid that's an actual evil bastard, and he needed taken out. Do you know what I mean? So by saving that one guy's life, is it better to just not save him? There's a lot of kind of like, that's it. It's playing God and being able to have that power
should have the ability
to say, well, I've got foreknowledge, of a situation, which means that but power's knowledge. Knowledge is power, isn't it? And it's like, if you know what's going to happen in the next 50 years, then what's to stop you just becoming the most powerful person in the world?
Right.
So, talking about foreknowledge before, isn't it? It's like you're saying about, like, you know, in terms of how foreknowledge is received, or, you know, if I tell you that you've got 24 hours to live, and, you know, you start thinking, well, I don't want to die in 24 hours. What can I do to prevent this happening? Yeah. But by pursuing the preventative actions, you're bringing it on. Yeah, do you know what I mean? You're not exactly. You're instigating.
You're walking into the door.
Yeah, you're walking into the trap, and by doing nothing, you're still gonna end up in the same situation. So it's like you sit yourself in a box and go, right now I'm staying here. Don't move me. I'm just gonna stay in this box and nobody can touch me. That box is going off a cliff or overboard or something. Do you know what I mean?
You've got to do something, or it's basically it's
destiny. Destiny, like it's all preordained. Yeah, totally, you get that.
Yeah, but then I've got a disturbance.
A disturbance in the Force, young Padawan.
Yes, it's a bit of a thing, right? Like if you leap 50 years and you stay there, or
quantum leap.
Yeah, or you go back afterward. There's an issue of the gap in between of where you're not in control. And
totally
get control of your body.
Well, this is the thing about Marty McFly, right? Do you know when he travels back from the future and he goes to his, he goes to his house and his mum and dad are successful, his brother's got a new job, everyone's really happy and that, they've got a version of Marty, that witnessed all that growing up, right? He was never just absent for 15 years. He was a version of Marty that knew all these details, Now, this Marty that's just leapt in or time travelled in is a dumb fuck who knows nothing about the family, right? Doesn't remember any of the holidays or any situation that they'd done. It's same in Hot Tub Time Machine, where at the end of Hot Tub Time Machine, Lou goes, here's your address. It's like, wait a minute, I don't even know where I live now. I'm married to a woman I don't know. And
got 2 kids.
And it's weird because in one way, it makes me think that there is a variant knocking about. And what lends more credence to that is in Back to the Future 2, when Biff turns round to Marty and says, you're supposed to be in Switzerland, you little shit. Yeah. So there is another version of Marty apparently in Switzerland, right? Yeah. The only reason why you don't see him is because he's in Switzerland, and they assume that the Marty they see is the same kid, right? Yeah. So where's the variant from the first movie?
And is the variant still there, or has he disappeared to wherever you come from?
Well, I've got. If you go back to my, Back to the Future Paradox episode, we've got some good theories in there, because I believe that Doc Brown knew that Marty was gonna maybe die, or maybe. The first time he went back in time...
anyway.
No, listen, we'll go through it again quickly, but the first time Marty went back in time, he couldn't help him. He got stuck there and died in the past, right? So, knowing this, Emmett Brown grows older and looks out for this young kid, Marty, and takes him under his wing and decides that he's going to help him out, but he knows ultimately he's going to end up going back in time, but all he can do is give him the tools and help him as best he can, right, so he can go back in time and approach his younger self in a better way. Do you know what I mean? And this is why it's in a loop, the film, because he always knew. Why would Marty be friends with this Doc? Do you know what I mean? Unless he knew that something was going to happen with him in terms of, like, he's connected. No, he was always going to have a friendship. It's a looped movie, so Doc Brown was always a younger man before Marty was born, but in the timeline of things, he'd met him before. Do you know what I mean? Back in the 1950s.
Oh, yeah.
And so he knew that there was this kid coming up, that was going to be influential in his life and basically necessary for the time. Otherwise, paradoxes, unraveling of space-time continuums and all that.
Well, no matter
and
what,
who needs that?
We're going to have some of that, no doubt.
Going back to the story of Mad Mike.
Oh, go on, Mad Mike.
So, apparently, this is what the story says. You know, obviously, we can only go first hand from what his interviews on the Coast to Coast, which I will link in the description if you want to listen to the interview first hand. But he decided to test the machine on himself in 1998, right? So, from how the story goes is he jumped into the Ark and he claims that he woke up in a farm in a field in Ohio. He was cold and hungry and miles from anywhere, so he's walked to the closest town and he's ended up making his way to a homeless shelter in Cincinnati, right?
Okay.
He's realised at this point it's now the year 2000, right? So he's now saying that somehow he's lost 2 years during this journey.
Right.
He's stepped into this Ark, and I mean, I don't know if he had witnesses there to witness him going through this, whether they thought, man, the guy's just been bug zapped. Has he been? I don't know. I don't think he did. This is the thing. I mean, Art Bell was really kind of adamant about doing it and going down, and he said he'll fly in from wherever.
Done it again, he's fucking tested it out before he actually got the film.
They do this, don't they? The scientists, they can't wait. They just go, fuck it. And the Green Goblin did it. And
he's an engineer, and he's not a scientist, is he?
So, I mean, somehow he's done it. Yeah, he's saying that this is the story. He's gone through this, and he's ended up in a farmer's field miles away, and he's lost 2 years. He returned back to the warehouse in Kansas City, but it was abandoned. There was none of his equipment was there, none of his notes, none of the records about the machine, nothing. Places just
CIA's
abandoned.
Taking the shit. Government's taking it.
But the article telling us that the Kansas City experiments had gone on, were online, but they've been taken down as well, right? So there was no real kind of evidence. This is it. I was trying to find this guy for ages, but I didn't know his name. And it was just a coincidence that I found the guy's name and was able to bring you this story because I heard him on Coast to Coast. And it was dead interesting. I just thought I wanted to do this. I feel like, the guy didn't time travel. I don't know if he did in terms of like what happened to him. During that 2 year period. But an interesting story came up when a few months later, somebody called up the Coast to Coast show, a listener, and they said that they'd found this fascinating story about a man that had been discovered in the 1930s, right?
Okay.
A man had been washed up. His body had been found washed up on the beach of California. His body was completely mangled, and he was inside a metal tube, right? The only description was that he had a device with him. Now, when he was on Coast to Coast, and Art Bell said, what would you take with you to the future or, through the time machine? And he said, the only thing I'd take is my mobile phone or my cell phone, right?
Right.
And what's funny is a device was found with this mangled body that would resemble what we'd consider a cell phone, right?
Okay.
And this was in the 1930s. The weird thing is, it's probably not Mike, or maybe not Mike yet, because although...
Could be whoever took the invention.
Well, maybe, but I mean, Mike's actually still alive.
But why would you take a mobile if you were going that way anyway, unless it's a device to get back?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
But then it could be someone who's...
Funny, though, because one of the physicists he was talking to said... He was talking about going forward, and most time machines would probably take you forward in time unless you had an oscillator, right? A special oscillating device which would disrupt the field and maybe send you backwards. Potentially, it wasn't a mobile phone. Maybe it was just looked like a mobile phone, but it was potentially one of these oscillating devices. Well, you know, it turned out that Mike, like I say, Mike's still alive. He's actually living as a homeless man in Hawaii, the last we heard. And he set up a GoFundMe to try and further his experiments and try and get back to the mainland. I don't know. I mean,
it's questionable.
Maybe he is still
treat him like a bum, or are you going to treat him like, you know what? This guy had an idea. He did it. He said he did. He lost like 2 years. I believe him. I'll give him.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, in terms of like. Say if you've worked really hard on something and you've you've put everything you've got into it, all your money, you've had people invest, you've got to the point where you've built this crazy big machine and you're willing to test it on yourself, you're that confident that this is going to work, then, you know, to lose those 2 years, come back and find everything's gone, that would happen. I mean, say the day,
sounds like a patsy to me.
You know, the day the guy walked through the fucking machine and disappeared, people would have been like, is he dead? Is he coming back?
Yeah.
Give it a week. We're going to shut this place down. Do you know what I mean? Everything goes.
Inquiries on where my shit is.
So if he's exactly. But if he's then come back 2 years later claiming his stuff's gone missing, they're just going to go, well, that was 2 years ago. We thought you're dead. And you know what I mean?
More than likely what.
And you know. Well, that's going to put him in a position where he is on the streets and won't have a penny to his name.
But if you're an investor, you wouldn't want to see that get thrown away. So then...
Oh, totally not. Yeah, somebody will have that. That'll be in some storage unit somewhere. Yeah, being just fucking put away. So, I don't know. What do you reckon to the story? Do you think Mike was a legitimate time traveler? Do you think he legitimately lost those 2 years? Do you think his machine... was what he thought it was? I feel like there's so many things it could have been, with no real evidence that it was one thing or another. I feel like you know when you've got kind of teleportation, invisibility, you've got time travel.
It's all on his word, and there is not. He hasn't got a single scratch of evidence where he could have had a lot of evidence if he.
I do agree with that. I feel like there's...
and it's simple. It's not the thing of like, you know, little bit I missed there or there. It's like big portions where you'd be ready and prepared for that kind of stuff. You've got other scientists who actually know how to be a scientist instead of an engineer. He's only...
I'm sure there's other people who have kind of looked into this.
But then that makes
science.
Do
you know if I was somebody like a physicist who was listening to the Coast to Coast show, I mean, I'm sure a couple of his callers were trying to stump him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, on some of the facts by asking him hard questions that, you know, he might it's just going to struggle with and prove that he's full of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And maybe these people went, do you know what? I know what he's doing there. I'm going to try this myself. I mean...
I'd be careful on that one.
I mean, these things that, like, you know, these little science experiments that do kind of have fantastic results. I mean, there's one that goes around on the YouTube and TikTok and whatnot about a levitating penny. By joining forks together, putting a battery on the points of the forks and spoons or whatever, and it can apparently makes a penny levitate.
Yeah, that was like the old thing of put three mobile phones together and put an egg in the middle and cook it.
It creates a like an electromagnetic force that spins the coin and levitates. I'm really not sure if that's 100% real, but you know, as an inquisitive mind, most people would try and replicate that, whether they get the same results or not. That would influence their decision whether they decide whether this is bullshit or not. So
I mean, the only way you can really say if it's bullshit or not. He's follow his.
But that's what I'm
example
saying.
and
But
actually
like,
do it.
you know, I could get like, you know, follow the instructions to make a penny levitate and get a totally different result for a number of reasons. My batteries are flat. Me the
instructions were
the
wrong.
the metal of me forks is wrong, or me penny's made of a different alloy, or some bullshit.
Yeah.
That's going to stop this. Sorry about this. I'm hiccuping. The experiment from not working. Do you know what I mean? And getting a different result.
Yeah.
But if I get a different result and it didn't work, straight away I'm not going to go, oh, one of the variables is wrong. I'm going to go, it didn't work. It's bullshit. Right? Yeah. And that's unfortunately what a lot of people will judge it from. So, like, you know, if you're an engineer or a scientist, or you've got a fucking, like, you know, an engineer's mind, and you think, well, I know what, like I say, I know what he's doing. I know what a Jacob's ladder is. I want to try and replicate this myself, and he doesn't get the same results, then they're going to straight away go, nah, this guy's full of shit.
Well, look, through science, there's been a lot of accidents through results they didn't expect that was going to happen.
But this is what makes me think, like the Philadelphia experiment, going for invisibility straight away, they wanted to try and disguise their radar, and somehow
a lot of energy around it
potentially made something else happen. I think this is a similar thing. I honestly, using electromagnetic power and stuff, it's untapped in a lot of ways. We don't know what kind of, like, we can kind of generate or conjure up with these sorts of, like, energies.
We still know nothing, you know what I mean? It's a
knows?
It's just
when he did go to jail, though, he spent 60 days in jail, like, for the first time when he stole the Transformers.
Criminal.
And you know what? It was like his friend who he employed to come and help him.
Yeah.
They ended up doing time as well and getting, like, they were on probation. So, like, basically, it's like he dubbed his mates. Got his mates into it as well. Like, and I was saying this to you, wasn't it? It's like, if you turn around to me and went, I've got to pick up these Transformers later, I wouldn't question it. I would have thought you prearranged it. I wouldn't have thought...
Yeah, I did.
We're going to fucking thieve them, you know, and going to shut down the grid.
Oh, yeah, I know who to trust now when I want to go and get something.
Yeah, well, he actually created his own grid in the warehouse.
Well, I think you'd have to be honest. You'd have to...
to get that sort of... to the 1.21 gigawatts of electricity needed for time travel.
Yeah, what was it? He needed 3 billion... not 3 million watts, and each one of these thingies were what was it, 50.
Yeah,
so he needed a lot, man.
There's a guy on here who says after the second Coast to Coast show, he was living in Denver at the time and was planning to go and drive to meet Mike. He called and tried to find him, but he was gone and never found him again.
Yeah, back in 30s.
I think this is when he potentially lost his 2 years. Who knows? And then obviously he's living in Hawaii. Well, last time people heard about him, so.
But how long ago was that?
This was like, this was a while ago. I mean, I've no idea where Mike is now. Like, Mike, if you're out there and you want to come on the show and tell us your story, we'd love to hear from you. Please do. Come on.
Please do,
I doubt you will be listening, but
it.
if that is any sort of, like, you know, if that was on the cards, I'd love to have you on the show.
Yeah, and I think we need more information as well. Like,
I mean, he was 21 at the time in 1995, so still a youngish man.
Yeah, he's going to be, what, 20 years old? He's going to be about 60s.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That. Yeah.
Yeah, well, come on the show if you're interested.
Yeah.
So, let us know what you guys think. And don't forget, where would you go in time if you had the chance?
Yeah, win your shirt.
Yeah.
Go in time and go,
I would have gone through to the future, to the day of the shirt drawing.
Yeah.
And I'd win it. Yeah. Ha, ha, ha. No, you can't do that.
Better than the lottery.
Ah, well. Well, like I say, if you want to get in touch, you can send us a comment on the social media or on Instagram or Twitter. What's this with Twitter at the moment? Well, you can pay for a blue tick.
Yeah. Well,
I don't pay for blue ticks. I don't get ticks.
You don't get ticks?
I pay cash.
Yeah,
but I don't, not for ticks. I don't. If you want a blue tick,
cash for ticks, do you?
No, I don't get ticks, and I don't pay because I pay cash.
Yeah.
And I don't pay for ticks.
Yeah.
because
Shouldn't.
because you shouldn't. Yeah, you
It's
should get a tick if you earn a tick.
Yeah, it's misvalued now because
anyone can have one.
Yeah.
If you pay for a tick, don't pay for the tick.
Yeah. Don't be a dick. Don't pay for the tick.
Don't be a dick. Don't pay for the tick. Go to Patreon and pay us instead.
Yeah.
It's all good. Buy yourself some merch.
Oh,
right.
yes.
Well.
We've got some stories on these as well.
Oh, well, yes. We've got some news coming up.
We have.
It's some. Do you know what? I'm going to start the news with a really nice story, so it's worth sticking around for. Right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I feel like we should get on with it.
Yes.
It's a news! Oh, yes. We've scoured the World Wide Web for the exciting... I've tried to find some nice, pleasant stories this week. Because, you know what? The world's full of shit. And you know what I mean? And do you know what? I can no doubt reckon you've got a couple of really kind of like, oh my days.
Downers.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
yeah.
So I'm going to start the news with an upper.
Yeah, let's start with an upper.
So this is a story which I found really beautiful. I've got to be honest, right? It's a story of Margaret McCullum, or Dr. Margaret McCullum.
Okay.
Right? And her husband, Oswald Lawrence. And it's such a beautiful story because basically, Margaret was married to Lawrence, and Lawrence was responsible for the London Underground's announcements of, like, Mind the Gap.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately, when Lawrence passed away, she was kind of like, you know, wanted to kind of hear her husband's voice again, so she'd go to the tube stations and she'd just sit on a bench and listen for the announcements that her husband had recorded. They were up there for like a couple of decades, do you know what I mean? They were continuously used. And she took joy in going down to the tube stations and hearing her husband's voice again.
I wish you would.
When, unfortunately, back in 2013, I think they kind of changed the system.
Bastards.
Where they put in an electronics, substitute.
Yeah.
So it was all electronic voices. So Margaret went to the Transport Authority and said, is there any chance she can do us a tape of the announcements, because it's my husband's voice.
Don't say they threw it out.
Well, what they did was, obviously, with the story was such a nice story and so touching that they basically reinstated her husband's recording at her local tube station.
Oh,
so she's now able to go down to the station and still hear her husband's recording. It's the only station that does it. And, obviously, it's such a beautiful story that they, were able to kind of do that for her. Yeah. And it just made my day, actually, hearing that story. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good that they actually did it. Didn't have to do it, you know what I mean? But now she gets what she wants. They get what they want.
There's a couple of little documentaries about her as well, if anyone's interested. There's a YouTube video called "Wife Search for a Husband, Husband's Mind the Gap." So if you search for that, you'll find that. I've also got this other story. We were talking about Christmas. This was the story I mentioned earlier about a woman who says people who put up Christmas decorations early are attention seekers.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, obviously, it's a colder month. Everybody's like, once the clocks go back, you do start feeling a bit more like you've got less day.
It doesn't even feel like Christmas.
Well, it doesn't at the moment. But I think that...
In December it will. Then you can put all your shit up.
Yeah, totally. But do you not think that people are so eager because it's so depressing? We've had a shit couple of years, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
People are kind of lacking a bit of Christmas spirit.
Well, yeah, and especially at the minute when cash is being strapped.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like when you can't, your kids are going to be This is the problem, you see, and I feel sorry for parents in this situation because, if you've got little kids, and you're struggling because of the crisis and the cost of living, how you tell a child that you can't have that toy this year, because in a child's eyes, they see
Santa's
it as
gone bankrupt.
Santa's coming and bring you. Have I not been good this year? It's such a shame.
No, you haven't.
And it's like, Well,
there you go.
They might have been good as gold.
Come
but
on,
it's
all
like,
kids
you
are a
know,
bit
the
naughty.
parents are like, you know, struggling with the cost of living, and it's like you've got to choose whether they can have that present or not. The kid doesn't understand cost of living crisis. They just think, I've not been a good boy this year.
Yeah. No, you haven't. You haven't. You remember
Bumper coal for you.
You remember what you did in September? Oh, yeah.
Told you Santa was watching.
Yeah,
I did tell you.
It's time to get a bit ruthless on these kids.
You're going to have to behave, double behave for next
year. The Easter
year.
Bunny got shot. Sorry, mate. You're having that for dinner.
You have to take it too far, don't you?
Well, yeah, you know.
Well, we've actually got an episode coming up about we wouldn't say it's the Easter Bunny, but it's got very strong connections.
Well, yeah.
To the Easter Bunny, if you want, maybe in some ways. But yeah, have you got any news you'd like to deliver?
I have. Mr.
Postman.
Let's go with what about the U.S. elections, the midterms at the minute?
Oh, who's winning that?
Well, from tonight, it's been at the House. Democrats got 202, and the Republicans got 211. They look like they're going to win it.
But who's the boss? Who's that?
Well, you've got Biden for the Democrats.
Oh, right, yeah. So do you think it'll be Biden
Trump
again then, yeah?
No. I think Trump's Republicans...
Is Trump a Republican, though? Is he?
Oh, yeah, he's fighting under the Republicans,
Is he? Because I would have thought, like, you know, he wasn't really a Republican.
Yeah, but there's still a few more to go yet.
I can't believe Trump's actually still running. I thought he was being arrested.
He's going to announce it this week,
I think.
FBI
next week, were after him.
I think he's going to announce it next week, but I think he might have to pull out because the
FBI were after him.
No, because the guy in Florida who he backed, they've been asking him to. The Republicans have been asking him to be, you know, go for being the president. And if he goes against Trump, Trump will probably lose. But then I've heard Trump's got dirty things on him. So
you know how I feel. I'm not bothered.
Yeah. Well, the Senate, it's 45 apiece, and there's 49 apiece. Sorry, and there's 35 out of 100 seats up for grabs left. So, and that might end up being the end of December to find that one out, because is it Arizona and two other parts of America have to. He might have to do it again because it's a 50-50. So, watch this space. But it's going to be interesting, and Biden won't be able to send a lot of the stuff that he's been able to do lately over the last 2 years. He's been able to go, right, I'll just put it through the House, right, it's gone right through. Now, Republicans have got more power. They need 218 to actually win the House.
Well, isn't that a good thing? If you've got more power to be able to put stuff through, then surely you can get more done. I mean, some people will argue that you can get anything you want through, and that's not really fair. We should be able to argue.
Well, that's what Biden had been doing.
Yeah. But but I mean, surely that's a good thing. You're going to get more done in a shorter space of time.
Realistically, it should be 50-50 down the House. It doesn't matter what.
Really, it should be, shouldn't it? I mean, and that's a democratic, system because you've not got one party kind of like
then we have to get taken out
forcing the other one. It's like, you've got a fair split of chairs, and that, you do have a power, one of them in power, but you still need like a divisive line where that you're not full of yes men people just going to agree with you. You need that sort of like,
but it kind of has been, but it's
contradiction occasionally.
It's a case that certain areas, like more people might go Democrat one year and then Republican, so it has to swing on that, but it looks like Republicans will be able to fight back a little bit in that House, but the Senate, it's all to go in the Senate. But let's see.
There you go. Apparently, I found this story here, which is a BBC report that suggests talking to strangers might make you smarter.
Oh, right.
I mean, in terms of like, different outlooks of life, I can appreciate that. Speaking to
general
people
knowledge,
who aren't really in your circle can broaden your horizons and whatnot.
True, very true.
But obviously, like a lot of people like me, yourself, it says it here, like many people who grew up in like, the 80s, we were raised on fearing strangers. You don't talk to strangers, danger.
Lock the door.
You kind of stay away from strangers. but then a stranger's just a friend you haven't met yet. Now,
Hey,
I'm not
so
saying
Yeah,
that
there's a
you
couple
gotta
of
go
nutters in
and,
there, though.
fucking get in cars with people you don't know.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you got
that's
sweeties. Oh,
yeah, if
let
they
me
offer
get
you a
in there.
dime bar or
Yeah.
whatever, or a
Yeah.
wham.
Oh, one bar.
Getting a desperate Dan bar.
Yeah,
or
time
something
out.
like that. Yeah, just don't get, if Neville comes at you with some fucking penny chews.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean
Penny, you're
that
having a
they're
fucking
decent
joke.
bloke.
Talking about 10p one.
But the saying, learning to be a bit more kind of open with strangers will make society a bit better, because obviously, being a bit kind of standoffish from people, one thing is kind of going to be like, making everybody really kind of skeptical, kind of really thingy against people,
be wary.
wary, yeah. So having that sort of ability it is a social skill to be able to communicate with people. And I feel like that's lost now in this day and age because of social media. But, it's something that we can claw back. We can get that back. I feel like if
I hope we can.
internet went down, it'd be something that we'd have to do. I feel that's a doable thing.
But now I'd still look at them the same way as, like, until they actually bring the proper news out, then the liars and manipulators.
Well, not necessarily. I feel like there is some sort of credit to this, where, being able to speak to people,
I totally agree with that, yeah.
I feel like there's definitely, people don't do it as much as they used to do. They kind of refrain from going up to a stranger and striking up a conversation.
Oh, yeah, but if you're getting on the news...
How often, if you were on a bus or in Manchester town centre or anywhere, just kind of out and about on your own, as somebody come up to you and just struck up a conversation with you about something random, not about something like...
I've done it at the doors.
Well, but that's workplace. That's totally different, yeah. When you're in a workplace, especially when you're in a job that's kind of got a hospitality element, yeah, of course you're going to talk to people, yeah, that's your job. But if you were out shopping or doing something of a personal nature and someone walked up to you and struck up a conversation, you'd find that weird and off-putting, yeah? That is something that shouldn't be. That should be, like, just the normal, that, like, people can talk to you without feeling like you're after something, you're trying to con me or rob me or something.
Well, yeah,
because I don't know you.
I've actually thought a number of times of when I'm driving home from work at night or early hours of the morning.
And you saw someone on the street and thought, should I pick them up and take them home?
Yeah. I give them a lift down the road, but then I have that second thought of, first of all, I don't know who that fucker is.
Well, exactly. There's that wariness.
Yeah, but second of all, like, where's he going to, where
could be
going?
a serial killer.
I mean? Yeah. But then
they
he could be
think
a nice
you're
guy.
a serial killer.
Yeah, exactly, because that'd be the first thing when you get in the car. Well, I don't know yet. Why are you giving me a lift?
It's not only that. It's not only that, right? You could...
We've been fed into it.
With all good intentions, say, do you want a lift?
Yeah.
And then they get out of your car and basically get attacked. We'd rather say they've been attacked or actually get attacked, right? Yeah. Next minute, it's, we seen them getting in a car at fucking 9 o'clock. Yeah. Next minute, you're pulled in for questioning. You're the last person who's seen them alive.
Yeah, you're convicting you.
So,
bang.
And this is the thing. It's like, not to say that that's going to happen, but it's a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
And most people would basically turn around and go, well, I'm not going to put myself in that situation just in case it happens. Yeah. So therefore, I would never talk to someone or stop for somebody in that situation.
Yeah. If someone were, like, someone's collapsed on the floor or something like that, then
it's in your nature. It's in human nature to want to help other people in that respect. So that's why you think, oh, should I? But your common sense and the way society operates nowadays and your better judgment tells you not to do it, because you're protecting yourself in a different way nowadays than your animal urges, and protecting yourself in a wild environment. You've got to protect yourself in a psychological environment where... And
watch what you say. You got to watch exactly what you say as well.
Interesting situation. I feel like in certain instances and situations, I believe that, they're right. And I think speaking to people in safe environments or somewhere that you are, that you wouldn't necessarily strike up that conversation with a stranger, potentially it's a good idea. Obviously, pick your battles. don't be like going, hey there, you in the darkness over there in the creepy van.
I think more.
Any chance I could get a lift from you, sir?
Or places like, you know, if you want to go back to college and do a bit of night school, or you join a club. I think that's where most people would go and
but this
see
is the thing.
people
It's like in terms of interacting with people.
like bingo. Old people go to bingo so they can have a conversation with someone else.
It's a social aspect, isn't it? Yeah, but this is the thing. It's like if you're not into bingo and you've not really got an interest that gets you out of the house, then
pub. Let's go to the pub.
Yeah, go to the pub.
Let's go pub.
Anyway, talking to people in pubs makes you dumber, apparently. Speaking, there's this new poll I just did. Yeah. Anyway, moving on with the episode. Have you got any more news?
I have.
I got loads.
Yeah,
loads
same here. Apparently, there is some new study that's come out saying that tiny particles in the air may trigger sudden heart attacks.
Oh, that's pretty serious. We all knew Taylor was going to come in with some pretty bleak shit tonight. So heart attack.
Singapore.
Particles in the air of what? Particles of what are causing heart attacks?
So it's basically like car fumes, you know, business like burning off fucking shit and stuff like that. But to me, that is a trying to do a little cover up for the kind of things like what the CDC latest information come out on COVID, which was one of the bad ones was that between 0 and 24-year-olds with no COVID aspect have died suddenly. What was it? 24,400.
But in what
within a short amount of time.
Right. So they've died suddenly from what?
SADS, which is sudden adult death syndrome, which it basically
that is SADS.
There's more as the years going by. And the months going by, there's more and more
of these deaths.
These deaths, and it's a case.
Well, what's that got to do with dust? What's that got to do with the dust in fucking wherever you've started the story off?
Because I think myself that is an excuse of a cover.
So that's your personal opinion,
yeah,
right?
That's my personal thing on it. That there's a lot of they will be trying to cover up certain aspects of it.
Okay.
Which you can see now. But yeah, the new report that's just come out.
Where was it? Who reported this?
The CDC. If you go on their website, it's on there.
Okay, fair enough. Did you hear that Banksy has unveiled a new piece of art?
Oh, no.
So this is a piece of work that's been unveiled. Well, basically unveiled. It's basically been seen in the Ukraine. Banksy's obviously travelled over to war-torn Ukraine to do a mural on a building which has been a bombed building. And it's basically a ballerina, like a sort of gymnast.
Right.
I'm not sure what the sort of ideology is there. I think is it because Russia does a lot of gymnastics? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Banksy posted a picture on his Instagram of the artwork of a gymnast doing a handstand amongst the debris in war-torn Ukraine. So
something, doesn't it?
I mean, I feel like when we've seen sort of political stuff from Banksy in the past, it's been kind of pretty in your face. You know what it's about, sort of. Yeah. I look at this and I feel like he obviously doesn't do things without having some sort of like message behind it. Maybe that'll become apparent in the future. Obviously, it's like it's one of the places that's been hardest hit by Russia, of the Russian bombardment and in Ukraine. But this was like obviously done in the immediate aftermath of the bombing. Russian soldiers were occupying the town located about 30 miles north of the Ukraine capital city Kiev for weeks. It is kind of got a kind of political message, but it's kind of interesting one. Let us know what you guys think. Banks is actually hosting an exhibition in Manchester at the moment.
Yeah, I believe so. The
Art of Banksy, which is a private collection. It's called The Art of Banksy Unauthorised, which is a private collection of Banksy works, which has gone to Media City which is from the 21st of October to, I think it's December or January the 8th.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it's on for a while. And there's a private collection of Banksy works. Go and check it out.
Yeah.
Manchester Media City, Salford Media City. I should apologise.
With awards kind of being given to Ukraine, have you seen this about Sean Penn?
No. What, has he died in this week?
Sean Penn's been there 3 times to Ukraine, and seen President Zelensky.
Has he?
Yeah. Now, the third time he, which was last week, went and seen him, he actually brought him one of his Oscars and give him one of the Oscars.
What
saying that like he would be very proud of it being here, a kind of symbol of that the Americans are behind him and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I was thinking of Sean Bean. Which one's the other one who dies in everything he's in?
Sean Bean.
Yeah, that's it. When Sean Penn, I was like straight away went one of the Seans. He dies.
Yeah.
What's he died in this week?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I do apologise. Wrong Sean.
So he didn't, like, Zelensky was trying to give back, but he was like, no, I want you to keep it.
Keep my Oscar. Yeah. You can have it for all your acting abilities.
Yeah, don't worry, Russia will get it soon.
What, the Oscar?
Yeah.
When they conquer Don't be saying shit like that. That's not going to happen.
No, I don't think they are. But the movement that they're doing at the minute about moving across the river and that, I do... And I think it's been proven now after tonight that they're going to get bombarded. That's what they want.
Yeah, because they've pulled out. Yeah. They've pulled everyone out.
But the
now.
Ukrainians have gone
everyone's out. But that's it. If they, the only reason why they'll pull all their guys out is because they're just going to bombard it.
Yeah, 30,000 troops that they supposedly had in there, and they're just going to bombard all that area. So it's
assholes.
In one way, it was good, but in another way, it's not.
Yeah. Do you know King Charles got bombarded?
Yes, I've seen.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
A man's been arrested for allegedly, he threw eggs.
Yeah,
There's no allegedly.
He did it. He even touched him on the arm as well.
Yeah, he threw eggs at King Charles and the Queen Consort.
Yeah.
Camilla. Yeah. During the first public visit, was it Wales?
Yeah, I believe so.
Off to Wales.
Oh yes.
So what made me laugh was he was arrested for throwing eggs, and it's such a Welsh punishment thing to crack. Yeah. He's like, oh well, the boy, was he throwing eggs? Was he? He's not allowed any eggs then from now on.
Yeah, we're banning from it.
You're banned from having any eggs. No, not at home. He can still have an egg sandwich as long as he doesn't take it outside.
Oh yeah, so he can't take it in the back garden.
He's not allowed to take it out. But Patrick, a student from University of York, said he was held by the police for several hours.
We should.
Yeah, we was throwing. He's a real bad egg, apparently. No, I'm joking.
He's fucking lucky.
I mean,
think about it.
Chucking stuff at the king.
Yeah, they could chuck the book at him and.
Talking to King, new 50p.
Oh, right.
Is now out with the king's head on it.
Right.
Yeah, first one I seen, and not in real life, but I saw a picture of it. Which was a coin collector who was bragging about his new King 50p.
Yeah, first one off the file.
Got myself a King 50p. So, yeah, they're available, apparently not in circulation just yet, but available to collectors from the mint if you want to buy one.
Yeah, because then they can get some money off the collectors and then go, oh, well, we paid £13 odd for one of these. Everyone else gets it for 50p.
Well, yeah, but it'll be a pre-release or whatever. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that one for a coin collector would probably be quite a good piece, considering all English coins.
Yeah,
for
but
the
he's
last
not collecting it, is he?
75 years have had the Queen on it.
If it was in circulation and then years later, and then he went and collected it, then he's a collector. If anything, he's just booked it. That's it. There you go. I bought it from there.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like...
I would have thought part of the adventure is actually going out and looking for these things, not just getting it sent to you.
I agree. I agree in some respects, yeah. Like, there is a big coin hunt in your in your hobby.
Yeah.
But if you can buy the ones that are coming out as and when they're coming out to add to your collection,
so
you don't have to hunt for it, and you're getting a pristine coin that's pre-circulation, and that's a better coin to have in your collection.
Yeah, but then you can't say you're a coin collector on these ones.
He's a stickler. Are you a coin collector? Do you want to put him fucking right?
Put me straight.
Put him straight.
Yeah,
because do you know what, right?
I'll argue the toss.
What do you collect?
I'd flip the coin.
What are you collecting?
Me?
Yeah. What's your collection about?
Just stains.
What, stains?
Yeah.
Bed stains.
That's it.
Duvet stains. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, dirty socks.
So you leave these coin collectors alone.
Yeah.
And falafelers, or whatever they're called.
Falafelers?
Yeah, are they stamp collectors?
I don't know.
Falatelers. Yeah, something like that.
What, train spotters then?
They're train spotters.
No, I think there's another word.
Anoraks.
Anoraks, that's it.
Yeah. Where are we up to now? I've got some NASA news. Have you got anything else you want to discuss?
Right, well, Elon Musk has tweeted that Twitter may go bankrupt as there's more of his staff are leaving.
Well, I'm not surprised.
He's just sacked a shit.
It's like you're trying to charge people for status symbols now. And I feel like, well, what's it going to achieve in terms of, like, you know, is it... I mean, I'll be honest with you, right? Yeah. Twitter, I like using it, right? And we've been on Twitter since we started the podcast. The podcast's always had a Twitter presence, right? But in terms of... And other podcasters, if you hear this and you want to back me up or you disagree, retweets don't equate to downloads, right? Yeah. In terms of putting it out there, it isn't a way of putting your podcast out there and getting more people to see it.
Yeah.
But if you go in the stats a lot of the time and look at how many people who retweeted your tweet have actually clicked the link, right? You might find not many people, if any, do that, right? Yeah. So in terms of what Twitter does, for someone like us, any creatives or anything, people like to be seen to do the retweets or like to be seen to do a like or whatever because it's nice to be nice, right? But I don't feel like it's worth paying for.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
It cheapens it.
It does.
You haven't put the effort and work into it.
I honestly don't feel like what they're offering for a premium package is something that appeals to me as somebody who uses Twitter. I don't feel like that blue tick is going to elevate us up against anyone in the same respect that we were talking about, you know, everybody goes back in time to win the lottery, then it becomes meaningless and it becomes the fact that if we've all got it, nobody's got it. Yeah. Well, because what singles you out as being a premium person or somebody who's, you know, worked hard to get an influential place in society to get that blue tick, and then you find that, well, for £8 a month you can buy it.
It reminds me of gameplay. Basically, you can either play the game and earn the points, well, you know, getting the points, or you can get a load of money in there and you pay for it.
It's like, Call of Duty or...
Work like for it or not.
In-game purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And it's like, it this values it, if anything. And not only that, this week, Twitter had actually got rid of a load of bots, which were sending stuff out to a lot of people, a lot of youngsters, and it ended up, when they got rid of the bots, that they were just looking at Japanese films and stuff like that. That they were trying to tweet through, like, you know, that's what I want looking through, not the shit that's been coming through already, like this bullshit on this and this bullshit on this.
Oh, right, okay.
So he seems to have started the process of, like, giving it a free rein.
Right, okay.
And getting rid of all the shit that's...
Yeah, but right, okay, so if I want to put a profile up, right, that's a bot that tweets links to movies, right, why am I not free to do that? Yeah, right, he's able to take that off. But I'm on the other side, I could have another account where I'm allowed to say stuff that it's free speech. It's like, I understand that if it's an inactive account or it's a bot account, it should be removed. But if it's actively tweeting stuff out, then why has that got less of a freedom of speech than anyone else?
Oh, why has it got?
You cannot, I mean, unless you can, without a shadow of a doubt, prove that it's not connected to an individual and it is just a bot, then you can't really deactivate an account based on that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But what he was it proved that all the shit that you get thrown at, you know, that people, it turns around and goes, we recommend this to you and we recommend that to you.
Yeah, but that's with the same with every social media site. It's targeted.
But what
marketing.
he's done is made it. It seems to have been better on actually what the people will actually look and working out that actually people were looking for this.
In other
not
words,
the shit that they were sending.
He's implemented a new algorithm that better target market share. So now we're going to target stuff that you actually want to look at rather than stuff that
you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's still targeting algorithms that are singling you out as a person who might enjoy this, that, or the other. It's like.
Yeah, but that's what you'd want on your subject, not that another subject comes up and it's like, well, I don't want that. Why are you fucking sending me that?
So in that respect, are you happy with, like, you know, if you're on social media and an advert pops up for a fucking, I don't know, penis enlargement pump? Well, based on your searches, we've determined that you might like this. Yeah.
Just because I look at porn? What the fuck?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, right? So
that should be taken away.
No, well, is it? Because that's based on your search.
Yeah,
so
but
that's more in tune with what you actually want on the internet.
Yeah, but I'm not looking for penis enlargements. I'm looking at the porn.
They might have popped on
that's
your
an
webcam
added on.
Thought you needed it, but.
Well, yeah, that's
Burn.
I always cover my cameras. I'm shy.
True. So yeah, I'm sorry about that sick burn, but anyway.
Naughty boy. But it's
he's lost his thought. Well, I'll kick in with another story. Solar powered space planes.
Oh right, yeah.
So this one's been out and about. It's back after 908 days.
Yeah,
it's been flying about.
Good.
So unmanned as well.
Yeah.
So this is an unmanned US military space plane that landed on Saturday after spending a record 908 days in orbit.
Good.
Yeah. So this is its sixth mission, and concluding a science experiment. About solar-powered vehicles, quite good. Which obviously looks like it's done a fucking job because, like, its previous mission lasted 780 days, and now they've upped it.
Forcing it more and more.
So since the X-37B's first launch back in 2010, it shattered records and provided the US with a more sustainable orbiting ship, really. Do you know what I mean? Because now they've got this sort of engine, I suppose. It's one of them, isn't it? You'll fucking have casino ships up in the orbit soon, and Disneyland in space, stuff like that. Casino hotels, all that.
Well, it might actually, because it looks like China has built their last piece of their new space station is up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the thing is, the ISS, the International Space Station, there's only payment up to 2024, yet they reckon that it will come back into the Earth's orbit and get destroyed by 2031.
Okay.
Which will mean that China will have sole power over what happens in space unless we get and don't forget as well, Russia's doing exactly the same thing.
No, we're all good.
And China's already said that they will work with other countries, but there's other countries that they will not work with as well.
It doesn't matter, because two UK firms are developing technologies to track down the growing number of, dysfunctional bits and pieces in space. So we'll just fucking whip the Chinese space station down. We'll track it as a piece of garbage and just kind of make it, our bitch. Being fucking bit flippant tonight. I do apologise. To be honest, I feel like this is worth talking about, in the sense that we've discussed space junk quite a few times, and how there's a lot of junk in space. Every time we go on a mission, we eject shit into the atmosphere, and it's just floating about. Bits and pieces fall to Earth all the time, and some dangerous in terms of little chunks of metal that gets rounded off in space somehow, and when they hit the orbit, they end up burning up and becoming projectiles essentially.
Well, yeah.
With the number of kind of satellites that we're putting up nowadays with Elon Musk's Starlink, and we've got our own stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Got our own one going
space salvage and space cleanup is definitely something that needs addressing. 100%.
We've talked about it too long again. We've talked about it too long, and we ain't doing much action.
Well, we haven't done much, but there's 2 UK firms that have developed technology that tracks down and captures the growing number of these
junk
things.
And
So
satellites.
yeah,
But think of all the minerals that we get out of them as well, and all the metals and gold, silver, platinum.
Oh yeah, because we're sending all the wealth up into space and can't get it back.
So whoever cleans it is going to earn a bit of package. You know what I mean? They're going to earn a bit of dough.
Well, this is Britain's first garbage truck for space. Could clear up junk with a bear hug. Yeah. Or even a robotic equivalent of a litter picker.
Yeah.
So do you know those like hydraulic clasping hands? The clamps. I got the clamps.
Got the clamps.
Got the clamps, see?
Go see a doctor about that.
Nah, you're not getting the reference. There's people out there who will get that reference of getting the clamps. But, you know, he goes to a dark place in his head. He doesn't know any better. I'm sorry. He's
Why, what is it?
Mine was an innocent cartoon reference, from Futurama, of a character who's in the robot mafia called Clamps, and he goes, I'll give him the clamps, see? I even did the gangster voice, I don't know what more you want. And straight away,
more gangster, please.
I'd go and see your doctor about that if I were you. Takes it to a dark place.
Well,
if you know what I was talking about, people at home, you know, you can side with me. If your mind went to where Taylor's went,
then, you know where I was going with it.
Shame on you. Anyway,
no, don't make me shame.
So I'm talking about clearing up the litter in space. Eco-friendly.
Last time I heard about that was a Swedish company, I think it was, that was going to dart stuff. That was the last thing I heard about.
Well, this is it. Britain are taking charge when it comes to cleaning up space.
Yeah, we could do the job if anyone can.
Yeah, my old man's a dustman. He wears a dustman. No, he wears a fucking a space helmet.
Yeah, he's going to have to now. Yeah, but he's still got his hat.
Well, apparently, here we go. Accounts of UFO encounters showcased in Suffolk in a new exhibition.
Oh, nice. Oh, right. Okay.
So I wonder what they've got, proof-wise. Must be some photos of some sort, something.
A UFO.
So accounts of apparent UFO encounters have been made public in a new exhibition. Photographer Alexander Ward is being the Apex exhibition. Behind the Apex exhibition. Is this Apex as in Apex, the YouTube channel?
Oh, I hope not.
I hope not. Well, anyway.
Well, I'll have to have a look
well, this is the Apex exhibition at Suffolk Aviation Heritage Museum. Okay. Sounds pretty official.
Yeah.
Some people have spoken, just seen lights in the sky, but others have actually had some encounters.
Good.
So if you're in the Suffolk area, check out the Aviation Heritage Museum and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I'd be quite interested. You know what? I mean, bagging on Apex. I feel like whenever I see stories from Apex on YouTube, they're so far-fetched and have no evidence. No. And it's like, this man went to... And I mean, they float but the titles of the videos are stuff that float my boat. It's like, this man claims to have travelled to the year 2085 and has video proof. And it's like, yeah, man, I'll watch a bit of this. And then it'll be blurred guy talking shit, no evidence. There's literally nothing to prove that this guy's literally done anything.
Yeah.
So this is my problem with Apex. And like I say, if this is by them...
because they've done a lot of time traveling people.
They do a lot they do a lot of paranormal stuff, a lot of kind of UFO-y stuff, a lot of time traveling stuff.
A lot of rubbish.
But... yeah, it's the videos that they put out, but people like The Mirror or the Star seem to pick up on them quite a lot. Well, anyway.
They would, wouldn't they?
So, we'll see what happens there. I might have to look into that one.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about? I've got one more story.
Perseverance rover, which was sent up and landed on Mars the 18th of February 2021. It turns out that, when China's been nicking, patents and stuff like that over in America and that, and they've been bitching about it for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it turns out the Americans have been doing exactly the same thing because apparently Perseverance rover was actually designed in China.
I'm starting to think that you're like, you know,
Fuck off! I
some
know
sort-
exactly what you're gonna say because I like certain things with Putin and like I don't agree with what he's doing
I'm
and
not
stuff
saying
like you're thinking I'm not on
not
that way.
saying
No,
anything.
no,
I'm just
no,
trying
no.
to like say that you
Don't
know
have to. I can read your mind.
that potentially you might be like a counterintelligence or something.
No,
for,
no,
you know,
no. I love my country too much for that.
I'm not sure. Anyway,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. So what you're saying is like they've stole.
Yeah,
Chinese...
they do tit for tat, but America's been bitching it for years.
That happens all the time. It's all about like, you know, what if you steal a bit of our info, we'll steal a bit of yours.
Yeah.
It's if they leave the file open and they happen to get the blueprints for a new fucking like, you know, satellite or
Chinese
rover.
just got a new. Well, you know, Starlink or you know these new satellites and that.
What was that their idea?
Yeah, no, China's got a new device now that actually shuts it down.
It sounds like Kanye West. It's like Kanye West. It was like, what was he just turned around and said? He came up with the idea for Django Unchained, and like and Quentin Tarantino and what was he called? Jamie Foxx.
Yeah,
had robbed his idea. Yeah, because he pitched that idea as a music video for one of his tunes, which never got made.
And if he did pitch it, he was letting it out himself. What? Can't control yourself.
There's been movies like, you know, Django movies been out since the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think that's 100% correct.
As it remade or something?
Like, you know, well, yeah, it's kind of like a remake, yeah. But you know, I'm just getting at like that's what it sounds like. It's like, nah, we invented it. Like the North Koreans. He claimed he invented the burrito recently.
Yeah. He can't have a shit. He doesn't shit or piss, does he? Apparently.
I really didn't know that.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure I need to know that. Anyway,
you know it now.
Scientists have discovered
a
mysterious new solar system.
Oh,
and it's nothing like ours. So this is a story that basically was saying we all know what our solar system looks like, but some 90 light years away, so 90 light years ain't that far, really.
No.
Researchers have spotted over 10 billion year-old dwarf star. Yeah.
All right.
So this looks like a dead universe, dead solar system. So the dwarf star, meaning that it's remains of a hot core of a dead star, similar to the sun.
As well.
Yeah, it'll be super dense.
Yeah.
It's basically surrounded by a graveyard of broken chunks of planets.
Right. Yeah.
So this solar system's just like derelict.
Yeah.
If you like, it's
looks like it's been destroyed because of what the sun's done.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, once the sun's kind of gone supernova, then everything in its path's probably going to get wrote off as well, isn't it? So this faint star has pulled in debris from these objects as well. But obviously so this is, I think the story of this is what you've just explained in there, where the sun's got to a point where it's burning out and it gets to a supernova, white hot giant or
white,
red giant,
brown,
and then it's kind of like destroyed the universe.
Yeah, because there's going to be too
Crazy.
much pull on it now, so it's collapsed. Like if it would take Venus, Mercury, us.
It's an ancient solar system, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's always good to find graveyard kind of solar systems so we can work out other parts of like what happens afterwards. So and the creation again, can there be another creation?
Well, you don't know actually, because if you think about how those rocks are formed and you know how planets are formed and stuff like that, I'd still say that these chunks of meteorite planetoids or whatever are proper rich in minerals and bits and pieces.
Possibly still livable.
They're made up of something, right? So who knows if they collide and create bigger planetoids.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be
eventually
cold and dead because the sun's burnt out, but
but
you know, maybe it'll never be inhabitable again. But it's a case of that you don't know what this could be. If we were ever to be able to travel out that far, be a good source of you know, resources for us. down the
possibly.
line.
Yeah,
if it's derelict, there's nobody there. It's like, we can go and just pretty much take what we want.
Well, yeah. If no one complains about it, no one in the neighborhood.
No one in the neighborhood,
yeah. Then we could take it.
Well, there you go. And on that note, have you got anything else you want to talk about? Because we're running out of time. It's been a long one.
It has. Last one, Remembrance Day. It's Remembrance Day today.
East we forget.
Sunday.
East we forget.
Yeah. And to be honest, the way things are going on, I'd be if I was one of them, I'd be turning in my grave. To be honest, with what all the shit's going on at the minute.
Well,
I need to fucking sort out.
Of course, yeah, but I mean, it's one of those. It's like, all right, pops. Yeah, do you know what? I mean, like, come round there and I'll give you a thicky.
Well, it just kind of annoys me because like these ladies and gentlemen, kids as well, died to keep us in our freedom and live life, and yet there's a lot of stuff at the moment that is actually taking stuff away from what they fought for.
What, like supporting China and that?
Well, no, for like the right to protest. You can't protest nowadays.
I 100% agree with that. And there's a lot of kind of stuff that we've had, what they fought for has been taken away for.
Taken for granted, if anything.
Essentially our benefit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like how it's painted and portrayed. But yeah. I feel like you're right in a lot of ways, but all we can do is mark our respects and be respectful, and don't forget that these people sacrificed themselves
for us, basically.
And
where we live,
and show that respect, and trying to pay it forward and take it forward within your lives and
buy
stuff.
Buy a poppy. Make sure you buy a poppy.
It's not all just about buying a poppy. You know what I mean? I know people who buy a poppy and that's it. They've got one poppy for life.
Yeah, if you could do more, sweet. Yeah, but because that money goes towards the soldiers that are still going around and need help.
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah, it's getting to the point, though, where there's literally going to be, like, a guy's going to turn up at, like, one old guy's house with a fuck-off check, and they'll go, well, you're the only one left.
Yeah.
So this is all your poppy money, sir.
Nearly
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you think about it, is it? Oh, no, go on.
I don't know. Well, I'm at the end of the show.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm ready. I just got different things going from my head.
I know, you're on one tonight. I was fucking, I'll give you a reprimanding when we get off there.
Oh, naughty.
We get that fucking, anyway, right, get that cane.
Spanky.
Corporal punishment being reinstated.
I've been a good boy.
Anyway, right, well, we'll be back next week with another show. Yes, so make sure you subscribe if you've not already, so you don't miss an episode of the show. We'll be back with, I don't know what, we'll surprise you with next week's topic.
Yeah,
we usually do.
Yeah.
But obviously we're available wherever you get your podcasts. So if you subscribe on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Samsung. We're on Samsung now as well. We're on Alexa. If you shout, Alexa, play Never a Straight Answer podcast. That'll work.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube. Anywhere else you get podcasts, that's where we'll be.
Yeah.
If you go over to the website, there's plenty of content on there, from videos to downloadable episodes, articles and blogs. There's loads of stuff. So if anything that floats your boat, it's over there. Yeah. Don't forget to enter the competition if you want to win a one-of-a-kind Never a Straight Answer t-shirt.
Yeah.
Made by yours truly.
Yeah. Made by him over there.
Not another one like it.
No.
All you've got to do is tell us about what would you do if you had a time machine? Yeah. Where would you go and why?
And the best one
wins.
Yeah.
And plus, we've got a lot of stuff coming up in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
We're on the road to the 200th episode.
We are.
So stay tuned for that. Now. We're getting on now. 200 episodes.
I know.
What did you think that we'd get this far? I don't know. I think.
Well, I don't know. I thought it'd have to go two ways. One, like we do
2 episodes and fuck it off.
Yeah. Or until something like we can't do it because we're both busy or something like that. I thought that might. But apart from that, we'll try it and carry on as long as we can.
Well, we'll be definitely back next week.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
yeah. Anyway, Right, well, that's the end of the show. We've talked for long enough. I'm tired. I'm going to go. It's 4:30 in the morning. So we're going to call it a night.
We are.
Call it a day.
Yeah, it's the morning, actually.
And we'll be back next week. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
We've been the Never a Straight Answer podcast. Peace.
Out.